Well, I don't remember where we left off. I think I was talking about taking this thing over to the shop. With the fairing off, I had a lot more room, so I didn't replace the actual Brakemaster cylinder gasket because I don't have one that I thought I did. So this is inflated. I got a new one ordered. Coming soon, but I did top it off with fluid, pump the brakes up. We got good working front brakes again. So this has kind of been the workhorse, ripping that around to the shop and then to the new shop. I gotta upload that clip for you guys too, but we are moving most of the bike stuff from my garage. I'm gonna keep my 3 shovel heads, so the bagger, Super Glide, and the chopper will stay here. The iron head's over at my buddy's shop, posted up for sale outside because he's in a high traffic road. And that's pretty much it. And the Falcon's running and driving. We're gonna work on that right now. And then this Evo Sporty is gonna get dug into pretty quick. Volvo bumpers fixed, all sorts of weird crap. Lots of oddities right now, but it's bright and early. We got a couple hours, we got about an hour. I wanna go through the TV cable and the carburetor throttle linkage. So the cables that I have are way too long, just kind of routed all over the place, so I'm not getting full throttle. That wasn't an issue before when I had that carb throttle plate, that cheap Chinese, I don't know, Ryan Star, Amazon something. It's like the Holly knockoff. Let's see here. Hopefully I brought it back. Oh, so much crap in here. Let's see, this thing. When this was on here, I had a lot more adjustments, so I have a new one of these because one of the bolts stripped out. I'm gonna kind of mix and match the new one and this because the brand new one is ground down like crazy to make it fit for an Edelbrock. That's what we're gonna start messing with today. So we'll get set up and I'll try and start looking at some of these linkages, see if we can get some stuff cut and lined up and go from there. This is pretty straightforward, at least. First thing I gotta do is disconnect all the linkages on the carb. Hopefully I have more cotter pins here because this one's seen better days. But we'll deal with that later if we need to. So I got the 1/2-inch bolts here on this side of the carb. Give me enough room. Nope, I gotta take all 4. Loosen them at least. Give me my socket back. All right. There we go. Now, I'm gonna have to disconnect these from the brackets, which means all of these linkages on the end have to come out again, unfortunately. But let's get this laid out first. Like so. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. Bolt these down. And we'll re-snug the carb up. I might have to redo this, but in my head, this should be fine. Okay, so obviously these are super long. I don't really want to trim them too much, but we'll kind of get them laid out. Even if they're long, I know the TV cable's fine. It should have enough adjustment there. It's not the prettiest aesthetically, but I'm just going to try and get this laid out where it is working again. So now I have one bracket here. I got to find the other one that should be in the car somewhere. Maybe I'll just grab the new box. New one's out, but before we get into that, I'll start loosening these. So it's a 5/64 Allen key on the low car kit, which I lose regularly. But we'll pull the barrel, pull the clip, Pull our cable through, and then the adjusters, I think I'm going to reuse these. Bear with me on this one because I'm kind of making it up as I go. What size we got on this one? It might be metric on this throttle cable barrel. Of course it is. Okay, back to the toolbox. They gave me one. So I got this for the tool that comes with the Mr. Gasket kit. This will come off of here too. And I got my nice cable cutters in the bagger right now. 9/16 for the barrels. So we're gonna have a ton of adjustment with all of these. Which should help. Whoa. I hooked that one on pretty good. What's going on here? There we go. I don't think I'm going to need that for the throttle cable, but I will need the one for the TV valve. So get rid of these. Now, we got to figure out where these all need to get cut. So, let me grab the tools from the bagger. And this is too long, so we're just going to snip that one right there, nice and clean. Now I can start laying this out. Preemptively setting up all the return stuff right now, so got this onto the carb here. I'll hook this up to the plate here, like so. So now we got our throttle return stuff pretty much locked in. Gotta snug this bolt up, which I also think is metric. I feel like I should remember how all this goes from last time, but I don't. But return spring's on. Now, the issue I'm running into here is the throttle cable is going to run up through here. I don't know how much I want to trim this because trimming the stainless kind of sucks. Definitely got to tighten the bolt on the firewall too. But then it's going to run into this little piece. I think this is like the Chevy style, where this will go this way like so. In through there, but I need it to go backwards, which means I gotta 180 this if I want this to come through the proper way, because I want this big end to go over the cable like this, and then that'll clip through here. So I'm gonna spin this one around 180 instead of cutting this down. I think that's a 10 mil down below. Hoping I can loosen it enough to get rotation here. Just like that. I'll leave that loose for now, in case we need to adjust it. Where did I put the plastic piece? Now, if I slip the throttle cable through here like this, I'll jam this through. Again, not pretty by any means, but it should kind of give us a close range. I'm actually gonna have to trim this back a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna have to trim the sheath back because I don't have enough pull here. Or can I just slide this way up? How much adjustment do we actually have is the real question. Where's my barrel clip? We can make do with that. It's gonna be ugly, but it'll work better, I think. So I got a little bit of adjustment on here. to mess with. So I'll slide this over, pinch the cable down, and then adjust the linkage to meet the carburetor. Bracket is in. This is still floating a little bit, so I got a little bit of adjustment, but I am pretty far forward on that. And on the carb, now we're at least hooked up on there. So this is on. This is maxed out forward. Tiny bit of room to pull that back, but I'll snug this down now. Leave everything kind of set in max adjust mode. All right, there we go. A little bit of adjustment on there. But now we got the throttle cable hooked up, so that's the first half of the battle. Now, the only issue I'm gonna have on the TV cable is this is angled. I don't really like the angle, especially when I'm gonna run it with this adjuster, but it is what it is. We're just gonna make do with what we got. Then the TV cable will come along the bottom side to the lower bracket. Pretty much set this up just like that. And then the problem with the angle is you lose a little bit of adjustment on the base, which should be fine because my adjustment's going to be on the slide, not on the actual bolts. So I'll snug this down just so it's tight. At some point, I'll probably just take a grinder and flatten out the aluminum parts. Hopefully this will allow me to run the TV linkage through here, like so. I'll drop this underneath. I need a bolt. That's metric. This is the part that broke on the other one. Well, the thread's stripped out. Stainless bolt into aluminum. Not really the best design in the world. But I got about 2 inches of travel here and a brand new cable that's actually adjustable on the fitting. So this I can slide all the way forward, all the way back, and that'll help me adjust the line pressure too. Now TV cable's hooked up. Now we can go back to our barrel clamp and our end pin. So we're gonna put the low carb piece back through here, slide that over, and then throw a barrel clamp on. And now I get to figure out where this needs to go for adjustment, and you guys are going to be in the way because I'm coming to this side. So now that that's kind of locked down, I'll take our low carb fitting, pull the cable. I'm not putting pressure like pulling it through the sheath, but I do want it tight. Clip that on, keep a little bit of pressure here. Then we'll rotate the barrel clamp over. Like I said, this is all gonna have to be adjusted. Once we get it fired up, I got a gauge in the car that I can kind of verify line pressure. But I'm gonna put a little bit of preload pressure on this for now. I'd rather have too much for adjustment than too little. Snug that cable down. Now, the farther back I bring this bracket, the more tension it's actually going to put on the cable itself. I'll go a hair more here. I would not recommend going this route if you don't have a transline pressure gauge in the car, because they're a little finicky on that. I do want a little preload on here. Third hand would do wonders. There we go. Now let me jump in the car. I'm gonna rig something up on the gas pedal and I can see where this is actually at in terms of pull. It's hard to verify this with yourself because you can't see down the carb and in the car at once. Well, that still didn't work. Even with the new bracket and the setup, I do not have enough pull from the pedal to the linkage to give me full throttle application, which is kind of a pain in the ass. So right now as it sits, I had it adjusted for wide open. If I adjust it wide open, it keeps me open about a quarter throttle or a little less than a quarter throttle at rest. So right now, even got the cable hooked up. If I pop the cable off, look at how much spring back there is. So that means I need to figure out some way of adjusting the linkage here. So I'm going to set this back to at rest position, because I don't need the throttle hanging up on me. I'd rather have not wide open than partial, or I'd rather have partial throttle at rest than stuck wide open or stuck at quarter throttle. And then it's back to the drawing board. But I think I'm going to drive this up to the shop today. Haven't driven it in a minute. And try and figure out, I probably won't be working on it, but at least get some miles on here again. I'll recycle the crappy cotter pin for now. And then I can kind of mess with the trans line pressure at least. So I got to figure something out. I don't know if I need to move this bracket for the throttle cable on the carb linkage to kick that farther out or make a little tab to move this forward, but I need to get more leverage on the throw. So I'll have to mess with that one a little bit. But it is not going to work as is, so we'll update you when I figure out a way to fix that. If we come back into the car and look down here, I know it's going to be kind of hard to see, but here's the throttle cable hooked up. I only have on this linkage, I think I might just have to bend something on the linkage here, because I don't think this is the correct one for the car by any means. This was picked out of a junkyard. But we got our pivot down low, and if I push on the throttle, I only have about an inch of cable pull at the very top there. I don't think anything's gonna show up, but we're gonna try. We got about an inch of cable here, so from pedal at farthest upright position, I've got an inch and a quarter of pedal travel. We need more there, so maybe I'll cut and tweak this leverage, or this a little bit, bring the pedal up a little bit more so I can get a little more draw, cut it and re-weld here or something. I don't really know exactly how I want to do that. I don't know if I'm better off trying to change the bottom to adjust the leverage point. Like I said, 1.5 inches of pull is not that much. I'm going to take a look at the one in my truck to try and figure out where the issue is on that. I know it won't come back, like I can't pull the gas pedal higher up because I'm bottomed out on the nut for the cable, which I already trimmed down. Maybe if I took another 1/4 inch off of that, it would give me a 1/4 inch more of travel. I don't really know, but that's where we're going to leave this one for now. I'll come back and add to this if I get it figured out today, but odds are probably not. I haven't been messing with this car all that much since the door damage. I'm mad at it. So it's been in project jail for the last week or so, but got to get that sorted out. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with everything else. The front seal is leaking, so we're going to have to address that at some point, but I can do that here in the driveway. It's not that big of a deal. Just pop the accessories off, take that timing cover off again, not the water pump, but the timing cover. Well, yeah, all of that crap's going to have to come off. Just kidding. But that's a later date project. I'm hoping to be about done with the Falcon for now in terms of running and driving. I still want to get it up to the track at some point, but we got to fix some oil leaks before that. And I got to get this throttle figured out. I got the garage closed up now because the sun's coming in and it gets super hot. But tried messing around with the throttle linkage. I moved the cable to the upper mount where the return spring is supposed to mount. Didn't work nearly as well as I hoped. So as it sits right now, I'm still only getting 1/2 to 2/3 throttle on the pedal assembly. And I know part of that is because when I let go of the pedal, it's seated, like the rod linkage at the top is flush with where the pedal sits. So when I stomp on it, it comes back, but I'm only getting about that 1/2 to 2/3, or somewhere in between there, 1/2 and 2/3 travel from the cable. So I tried readjusting it on the carb side. I don't know what else to do because it's still not giving me what I want. So I think the next step, it sucks, it's running and driving I just readjusted the carb mount for that, and way more drivable. I'm not getting full throttle, which sucks. So next up is going to be pulling that pedal off, and I'm either going to torch it and bend the lever farther back so the pedal sits higher. It's not a daily driver, it doesn't have to be. So if it's a little high on the throttle side, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to torch that, bend it back, or cut and weld. Cut it, clock it, weld it. Haven't decided yet, but that's where we're at. So hopefully I can get full throttle going, but that car's got to go back. We're going to grab the van, bring that back for a camp trip. We're going up to Simcoe in a couple weeks, or in a week. And got to have the van here to prep that one first. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. We will catch you on the next one.